Hey guys, Windsor here, and welcome to the Groove Guru podcast. And today I want to share some reflections I had after listening to an iconic song by the Beatles and also explore some profoundly practical principles of creativity. I was re listening to the Beatles song, All You Need Is Love. Beautiful piece that they wrote for their performance on the BBC's Our World broadcast in 1967, which it was the first international TV broadcast, multi-satellite broadcast in history. And it led me to reflect on a story I heard from Eddie Kramer at a talk he gave in London. And many of you probably know of Eddie Kramer, but if you don't, he's best known for his work with Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, and more. And he was also the engineer for the Beatles recording session of All You Need Is Love when they recorded the rhythm track for that. And during the talk he gave in London, Eddie, he shared a very cool story about that session. And on that day in 1967, the Beatles, they entered Olympic Studios with a basic idea for the song, All You Need Is Love, and they played instruments they didn't normally play on that session. Like George, he was on violin, Paul was on double bass, with John on harpsichord and Ringo on the drums. And they stayed in the studio, in the room, for the entire 33 takes, and Eddie observed and listened and engineered from the control booth. And after those 33 takes, the Fab Four emerged, and I think it was Paul that said to Eddie, "Take 10, that's the one. Cheers, mate. See you later." And off they went on their merry way. And they then overdubbed additional recordings to make the final record, and then did their performance on Our World, and the rest, you could say, is history. And reflecting on that, one clear takeaway is that to create something remarkable and high quality, we need to take action, and often a lot of it. And the Beatles, they did 33 takes just for that one track to get the version they wanted on the rhythm track. And if you look at their career as a whole and zoom out a bit, you know, the early days in Germany, countless hours and long hours playing, and what they created in the rest of their career, you know, it's evident that it was a lot of practice, performance, and, you know, perseverance at times that helped them create their legacy. You know, they took a lot of action. And it brings me to another important point, that whatever we want to create often starts with the seed of just one idea. And for example, when I created my Excelsior Basics drumming course, it began with a single thought. And that thought evolved into an outline, lesson content, recording the videos, editing that, and then making it available for anyone who wants to enjoy it and learn from it. And if you're interested in checking out my Excelsior Basics course, you can do so via my site, windsordrums.com/courses. And turning any idea into a tangible reality, it takes time and work. And I'm reminded of a time when I lived in Scotland. My father had just painted the outside of the family house, and amazed by what I thought was a monumental accomplishment, I asked him, I said, "How did you do that?" And he paused and he said, "It's just paint and time, son." And on the surface, whatever we want to create, it's just paint and time. It's just work and time, which is pretty obvious when you think about it. But beneath the surface of our creations. There's something deeper at play and something that's not immediately obvious. And as I say, often underappreciated. And was something I had a huge insight into through the work of Scottish mystic Sydney Banks, who's best known for articulating the three principles of mind, consciousness, and thought. And these principles, yes, they're described with words. Words are the tool that we have to articulate here, but they point to a much deeper, wordless understanding of our deeper potential to create anything we want in life, and a potential that it's the source of all our creative ideas and much more. So the principle of thought, it's the tool that we use to shape our moment to moment perceptual reality of life, our version of it. And consciousness is our ability to be aware of our thought and be aware in a way that our thought feels real through the senses, very tangibly. The principle of mind, which they're all linked, is essentially that we are all the same essence, the same source, the same animating force of life. The that which spins the planets, that turns sunlight into energy via photosynthesis, that turns cells into organisms, that beats our heart, that digests our food, that regulates all the processes in the body, that allows us to turn thoughts into action. And when we feel into that deeper essence of what we are, Sid often said, listen for the feeling, because it's a feeling. And as we feel into that deeper nature, we feel into the same source that the Beatles tapped into when they created all their catalogue, All You Need Is Love, all of it, and the same source that all musical greats have tapped into, like Mozart, Bach, Jimi Hendrix, John Coltrane, Miles Davis. And if you're a drummer listening to this, you could say Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, Elvin Jones, Vinnie Colaiuta, Neil Peart, whoever you love. All of the greats are informed by this same space. Whether they're no longer with us or still here, it connects us all. And we all have access to it. And how do we tap into that source of deeper creativity? Is the obvious question. Well, we access our deeper creativity when we feel love. Love brings calmness, and calmness brings new and fresh imagination. Okay? When we feel love, we see beyond our previous ideas, beliefs, concepts, past, and from that deeper, clear space of now, new ideas emerge naturally. It's like in quantum field theory, it's like the same formless energy. It's from that new particles come in and out of form. And it's like the mind, creative ideas come through when there's space, and when we're feeling love and calm, our creativity is unbounded. Sid Banks, he called this space the great nothingness from which all things are created. And it's the source of all creativity, and it's available always wherever we are, here and now. And it's portable. And there's a quote about this I love by Franz Kafka that goes, "You do not need to leave your room. Remain sitting at your table and listen. Do not even listen. Simply wait. Be quiet, still, and solitary. The world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked, and it has no choice. It will roll in ecstasy at your feet. And as we pay attention to that deeper space inside, we become aware of the infinite possibilities that are available, ready to come true. And with the action of thought, we can bring those creations into being like an artist paints on a blank canvas. And as I see it, that's a pretty magical gift. And the next time you're creating something new, whatever that is, I invite you to start with love and first create some space. And as you get a sense of that pure feeling, you can ask that space. It's like the big you beyond the little you. And in that space, you can ask it, what would I love to create? And sit in the space of that question and see what shows up. And trust the process and be open to doing as many takes as it takes for you to get the results you want, like the Beatles did, etc. And however many takes that you do, love the one you're with. Be present with it and know that as you open fully to engage with what you're doing, you're at your clearest, you're most resourceful, at your best to freely respond to what shows up. And that is the source and the space where all your creativity flows and where all your answers are. Not my answers or someone else's answers, but your answers. And as one of my mentors pointed to, is that as we start to look inside and see within, we learn to read the book of our own wisdom. So, as we wrap up this one, here are a few quotes I wanted to leave you with. And the first one is from W.H. Murray's The Scottish Himalayan Expedition. Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Then, from All You Need Is Love, there's nothing you can do that can't be done. And the last one is from Sydney Banks' book, Second Chance. Love makes the impossible possible. And expanding on that last one by Sid, in its broader context, as I see it, it beautifully encapsulates a lot of what we've explored today and points to the essence of that which truly is beneath the words and is the power that's available inside. Love is not just an idea. Love is a living, breathing essence that the wise can pluck from the air at will and then, like a master artist, mold it into something beautiful. Love makes the impossible possible. So, as an invitation to you today, this week, whenever you choose, feel love. Open yourself to new possibilities and have fun bringing them to life. And I'll talk with you soon.